Warning, this video will contain discussions about mature or disturbing themes and subjects. Video discretion is advised. Okay, so where exactly do I begin with this episode? Well, I recall saying in my Spring Anime 2021 list that this anime would be okay for teens. Yeah, I take that back. This should be for young adults and above. This anime, while realistic, does touch a lot of sensitive and disturbing themes. At least that's been the case for the 3 episodes that have aired so far. I'm not sure how the next upcoming episodes will be. I hope it will be more light-hearted. But while this episode does incorporate said themes, it does present a powerful message that people should take heed of, especially in this day and age. So let's get straight to talking about it. Let me just say something about the opening since I didn't review last week's episode. I really like it. To me, it feels like a sort of melody is playing, at least in my opinion, and it presents a lot of dynamic between the characters and how they each have their own stories. So it starts off with Sayu flashback dreaming about one of her previous one-night stands with a guy. This scene is pretty graphic to look at even though it was short. Based on Sayu's expressions in the scene, she's just kind of going along with it for the reasons she's explained in the previous episodes, but you can really tell that she looks dead inside. The scene emphasizes how Sayu was feeling and it focused especially on her eyes to prove it. The next day, Yoshida goes to work leaving Sayu to do the house chores. She's curious as to why Yoshida doesn't touch her, knowing that doing chores really isn't enough for his benefit. While she's aware that he said younger girls aren't his type, she was thinking like surely he finds her somewhat attractive, even if it's just a little bit. People at work have begun to take notice of Yoshida's drastic sudden change, such as him dressing more appropriately, shaving, and even turning down business trips, though he does try to keep it under wraps by giving petty excuses, which I honestly can't blame him for. I probably won't tell anyone if I was in his position. That evening, Mishimi later invites him to the movies, to which he reluctantly agrees. He texted Sayu, to which she feels kinda lonely but decides to head out to sort of glimpse at Yoshida's hangout. Mishimi and Yoshida left the theaters talking about the film's theme, which was about fated encounters. They were debating about the subject while they were walking until Mishimi stops to say that she's met her fated encounter and she doesn't intend to let them go so easily. She then daringly hugs Yoshida, implying that it's him, which caught him off guard. Unbeknownst to them, Sayu was around the corner and happened to see them. Feeling upset and distraught, she runs off. Yoshida wasn't moved by Mishimi's sudden move on him and forces her to let go, but she doesn't seem fazed or sad about it. She instead smiles to say thanks for the movie and heads home. On his way home, Yoshida contemplates about whether his experiences such as meeting Sayu was fate. He was shocked to find out Sayu isn't at home and runs around town to look for her. Sayu was sitting on a bench at a park feeling depressed about how Yoshida isn't treating her like she does with other women. She even sobs a bit, stating how she was feeling somewhat jealous. Coincidentally, Mishimi stumbles upon her with a concerning look. Sayu, knowing who she is, acts guarded initially. Mishimi says she'll stay with her at least until the last train arrives so she can think and contemplate all she wants. She asks many questions, with Sayu just giving short answers, to which Mishimi does mention how she herself used to be a runaway from school. Sayu indirectly talks about Yoshida, stating how unconditional kindness doesn't exist. Mishimi responds with saying regardless of the outcome, she should give it her all. At that moment, Yoshida finds Sayu at the park and also notices that Mishimi is with them. Mishimi is clearly confused but decides to go home and have him explain things tomorrow, to which he also reluctantly agrees. Once Yoshida and Sayu head home, this last section of the episode is definitely its highlight and most important to pay attention to. Sayu insists on talking to Yoshida while stripped and is constantly trying to seduce him. She's not actually desperate to sleep with him, but rather sort of tempting Yoshida to do so, since all her previous encounters with men result in them sleeping with her. Yoshida's clearly not happy about this, but admits that Sayu is an attractive girl and how her advances do indeed turn him on, as he himself flat out says no guy will be able to resist in the long run. Sayu further explains how she thinks that taking in a teenage girl is more troublesome than beneficial, so she concludes that her body would be an ideal reward. Initially, she admittedly states that she wasn't really keen on sleeping with random guys, but during the experience she felt as if she was needed in a way. She even says that she wouldn't actually mind sleeping with a nice guy like Yoshida, as she implies that he's probably the only genuine guy she's ever met ever since she ran away. Now this sounds messed up, but keep in mind that Sayu ran away and sort of mingled with these sorts of people and based on her explanation, hasn't met anyone who gave her proper help or care. So when she says all these things, I can really understand her perspective and how she came to that conclusion, and I really feel uncomfortable with how young people like Sayu has to experience these things and have these kind of mindsets, but this kind of stuff does exist. Yoshida responds with hugging her, stating how she is indeed cute and all, but will not sleep with her because of the simple fact that he is not in love with her. Yes, he did state he won't sleep with anyone even if he gets depressed, but he most certainly will not sleep with anyone he's not in love with, and it's in his principles which he lives by is what makes Yoshida a very admirable guy in my opinion. Later, after Sayu gets dressed and settles down, Yoshida tells Sayu that she has indeed done something for him aside from chores that doesn't involve trading sexual favors either, which is that his life has become more fun and pleasant, especially now that he has someone to come home to in a way. He admits this to himself as well, despite initially thinking it was just to help Sayu. And the episode ends off with him saying that starting from this moment is actually when they start living together. Once again, really enjoyed how impactful the episode is, and I'm really looking forward to watching the rest. That's all I have to say for this review. Thanks for watching. Leave down your thoughts of the episode in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. Take care and have a good day.